Okay, this says I am recording. So we're going to presume that I'm doing this right enough. And introduce myself briefly. My name is Corey Perella, and I am your instructor for this virtual class on how to make a movie. First, my credentials. In the movie industry, there is no professional licensing. Do I need to say that again? If you have to, when you see this, rewind that. In the movie industry, there's no professional licensing. So when you get somebody who says, yes, I'm a producer, know this, they're full of shit. Okay? You're going to get some people that have, in fact, made movies. And saying they're a producer is like saying that they have participated in jazzercise. Okay? There is no such thing as licensing for producers, directors, production designers, actors, costume designers, makeup artists. There is no professional licensing. When you have an external craft like law, entertainment, a professional craft like teaching, we have licenses. Obviously, cosmetologists, the makeup artists. There is no license for the movie industry itself. This is my adult education teaching license. I also have one a few years older than this. This is out of Arizona. There's another one called a CTE, which a CTE is where like your shop teachers come from, the carpentry guy, the auto mechanic teacher, that kind of thing, the sciences, the STEM teachers. Those are all CTEs. I didn't realize this when I was issued my CTE for media. It's a certificate of technology education for media, journalism, movie making, drama, anything to do. I often joke that if it blinks, I'm a legal expert to teach on it. Next. Another credential. I'm also a writer, done a bunch of screenplays, bunch of books. Anybody can publish at this point. The templates are out there. There's pros and cons to it. Unless you have the money to market yourself, you're on your own. It's like being told like a Viking. There's a paddle boat. North America's that way, and you're standing on the west coast of Portugal. Okay, you're on your own. They're not going to push you. They're not going to spend money to get you in front of people. I did this for a marketing class, so this was this was done as a not so much a joke, but proof to show that I could make one of these and promote a character. I had created a character called the Storyteller for the sole purpose of showing how to create a character. Because when you get onto a show like SCTV or Saturday Night Live, or even Once Upon a Time you had Mad TV, or National Lampoons, you have to create characters as a part of your participation in that. Now, there's a few things we're going to cover in this class. The purpose of today is to explain to you how to use this thing to make your own personal movie. Now, there's a couple of purposes of why I'm doing this. One, everybody has a message, whether you're trying to sell Pampered Chef or you're trying to be the next person that is interviewed by any of the number of ridiculous excuse for news channels out there. And everybody seems clueless about framing. Okay, I happen to be in a room that is, I'll call it barely lit, but there's a reason why I'm putting myself here and I'm framing this. I'm centered in the frame. Most people are just kinetically ignorant when it comes to this. Or I see the stuff on TikTok and all I want to do is strangle the people doing it. There are some programs on YouTube that are done very well, that are clearly done with what used to be aimed at Discovery Channel, the Learning Channel. And what happens is over time, YouTube or other social media venues, even Facebook at times, has more viewers than the channels that we would have traditionally watched back in the 20th century. Way back then when dinosaurs were, oh, shut up. The internet's been with us for quite some time. For those of you who don't know the history, I'm a licensed history teacher. I'm one of the few people that is actually going to have legal credibility at teaching this stuff. So whenever I meet somebody who goes, oh, who are you? And I'm like, no. Who are you? Don't let me go Alec Baldwin on you from Glengarry Glen Ross. Instead, Lord knows there are wannabe professionals out there who have been paid for doing a terrible job. You go on my Amazon account and plug in my name there. All my books pop up. I made a couple of movies. One has really difficult structure problems. Another one was a movie I shouldn't have even made because the guy was he was not a nice person. He's a paraplegic. He went from bad to worse by his own admission. I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have made his project. But those are the ones that are out. I've acted in a ton of movies thanks to extra acting in LA. It's a dime a dozen. I was there for a few years, a couple decades ago. Appeared in a lot of stuff. Met a lot of second assistant directors. Got to talk to the big men a few times. Had interaction with some of the major stars that were working because they were so bored during their shoot. They came out to socialize with the extras. So I really did get to engage with some of these people in real life. What I want to talk about is why I'm doing this. Most of you get on social media and you're pushing your, well, I want to do whatever it is, marketing. I think that video marketing, blah, 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 blah. You're right. All that stuff has a future. I'm big in education. And I think that if we all work together and you put together your little speech, and to be honest, it sucks. And I'm listening to you going, oh, sweet Jesus. I mean, right now, I got a free week at one point on eHarmony. So I started using it. And I'll just say, I'm looking at the profiles. And my first thought when I'm looking at them is, I'm not going to show them here. I could, but I'm not going to. My first thought is, you use that picture on purpose? Folks, one of the things you're going to have to accept is that if you look in the mirror and you see somebody who needs a makeover, guess what? Everybody else is seeing the same person. Articulation. You have to put your theme out there first. Here's my problem with today's filmmaking. With all the cool tools, this is the greatest educational tool ever invented as far as I'm concerned. Is one of the most useful educational information tools ever put in the hands of teachers. And yet with all these really cool tools at our disposal, with all of the visual templates and palettes that we have, courtesy of the makers of everything between Star Wars and Tron, we've got a lot of brilliant minds that helped innovate how storytelling could be conveyed. With all of these wonderful tools at our disposal, storytelling sucks more today than it ever has. We just had an Oscar year that gave Borat a Best Picture nod. So if you want to be acknowledged, if you want your stuff, sorry, I keep twitching with this. If you want your messaging to get better, pay attention to the fundamentals.
You throw the ball, you hit the ball, you catch the ball. You got it?
The first thing is, do I have enough lights on? The answer is, in this particular case, you can see me, but I certainly wouldn't use this to sell a product or a service. I'm wearing a generic white t-shirt. This is the kiss of death on a real movie set. Obviously, there are better lights and cameras one can use to record this kind of stuff. Use what you have to the best of your ability until your audience increases. What you really need to decide is, what do you want to say and who do you want to say it to? When I'm making my message, whatever it is, sometimes a fun one to read, who is my audience? Here's how I discern that as far as messaging goes. And then that'll help determine whether or not this is an appropriate method to record your movie and upload it to a point of audience accessibility. You got to presume your audience doesn't automatically get it. There is no such thing as common sense. Piece of plastic. They don't all work the same. You will have to have a method of connecting this to a content accessibility device. And you have to ask yourself, what's your message? Take whatever your theme is and tell your audience what you're about to do. There's a lot of you out there that are trying to convince the world that your health product, your health service, you're trying to sell insurance, and you're trying to sell pills, and you're trying to sell yogurt, and you're trying to sell magic drinks, and you're trying to sell Jenny Craig and Atkins, and we just don't care. How do you make the other person need you? Well, I talk to them and they're really fat. You're right, they are, but they don't have enough money to buy your product. And even if they do, you have to convince the consumer that choosing to adopt whatever the hell it is you're talking about is worth their lifestyle. Maybe they're just going to choose to die younger. You need to accept that. You know who accepted that? The makers of junk food. There comes a point where you're asking yourself, okay, how long do I have to sell this person my stuff? No matter what I say, no matter how perfect my words are the first time or the 5th